Hello everyone, Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo here for another Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous. I'm actually here because it's Bensday with Batgirl and Ben today, but I wanted to do a little bit of a lead-in to that because today marked the first day that we're actually able to stably play version 1.1.1 of the alpha of Star Citizen. And that's because they did some hot fixes over the weekend and they've been whittling down the different errors that they've been having. The forever loading screen or never ending loading screen, the different glitches that have been happening where your client's been crashing. But today they fixed one of the big ones, and hopefully we have to wait 24 hours like Ben will say in this episode later on. They fixed the big one, which is the kicked back into the lobby error. That's been happening a lot, and only a very small number of people have actually been able to get into multiplayer matches. That means that most of us that have been taking part in the Vandal Swarm have not been able to. I'm sorry, I looked up and off to the right, or left, whichever way you're looking at the screen. But it seems like there's a thunderstorm going on outside. But there are a number of fixes that they've been working on, and like I said, I trust that they're going to get these fixed. So what I'm going to tell you to do now is, because it seems to be fixed, let's stress test it. Let's get out there, let's be online, and let's see if we can find some more bugs for them, because we want to make this as reliable as we can before Star Marine launches and the social module soon after that. So please go out there and test it. That's what the alpha is all about. Second piece is we're at about 2,485 subscribers. That's not the big deal to me. It means something to YouTube and to the search engines. What means more to me is the average number of viewers to my videos. I get well over 1,000 viewers on a lot of different shows that I do, like the ship reviews or the Bensday shows like this. But I don't get as many on Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous, and that's the one I put the hardest work into. And I have a Vanguard to give away, so I'm going to give it away at 2,500. Now, what I want to know from you, and I'm going to put Radar, aka Snake Plissken, aka Pappy Boyington, on, is I want to start having a wardrobe for the show. So I'm going to have Pappy go out there and design a couple of different outfits. And all you have to do to enter the contest is to actually vote on which one of the things that he comes up with is what you'd like me to try to put together. And it has to be realistic. So he's going to come up with a couple that I'm going to look at, and I'm going to put them up on the SCAA website. You're going to go out there and there'll be a poll and you'll be able to vote for it. Everyone that votes will be entered. There's nothing else to do for this one. And our very own Gerald Schott will be tallying the vote, handing it to me, and I'll be announcing the winner here. I hope that this one is a lot easier. I've been scared about doing this because I have a feeling that Pappy is going to create a outfit for the show that's going to make me look like, well, let's just say leather and lace. And I have promised that I would wear whatever you guys choose, or at least try to put together whatever you choose. And I have a really good wardrobe person that's going to go out and try to find the look and put it together for me. All right, that's part A. And part B of this is the GoFundMe for the camera is going strong. We're at $285. I've addressed that I'm going to need somewhere between $1,400 and $1,700 for the camera and the equipment I need to put together the new camera set. So if you do feel like supporting the show, please take a look at the GoFundMe, which you should be able to click on a button just below the screen to my right when this goes live. With that said, we had a really good time talking to Ben today, and I'd want to get to that really quick so you can hear what we had to say and hear the questions asked and answered. And before we go to that, just remember, you can answer your questions, or you could ask your questions one of three ways. Post in the comments section below. Post them in the 5 for Ben Lesnick thread, which I'm going to change to Bensdays with Batgirl and Ben. Or send an email to starcitizenaa@gmail.com with the Bensday in the subject field. Okay, guys, it's very simple. So let's get to it. And with that said, I'll see you next week on the next episode of Star Citizen AA. And until then, you all be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon. Hello, everyone. It's Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo here for Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous. And this week's show is going with the name Bensday. It was a close race between Bensday and Ben for the chairman, but I'm not there to step on Chris's toes, so we're going to go with Bensday. And we're with Ben Lesnick, of course. Ben, how are you today?
Oh, not too bad. Short week for me. I'm headed up to a Star Wars Celebration tomorrow, so
That's
awesome. Finally get some time off.
Well, that is awesome. So you're going to go hang out with the other nerds like myself that are getting ready for the big movie this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. And obviously there's also, isn't there a new trailer coming out at some point in the next week?
Yep, there's going to be a new trailer on Thursday. I think the Battlefront trailer drops Friday, and then there's the new season of Rebels Saturday. It's going to be a big Star Wars weekend.
I bet you the people at Disney are kicking themselves in the butt that didn't hire you guys to do the new X-Wing games. The way that
they got dice on the Battlefront. It should be pretty good.
I hope so. I know the original Battlefront was awesome, so this should be good. So, big week in releasing version Alpha, right? Alpha 1.1.1.
Alpha 1.1.1, yep.
And back to the drawing board with the server side, but it seems that today fixed all that, which is what I'm talking about before the show today. Seems like we have it working. Well, it looks like we have it working so far, which is good.
I like to give it 24 hours before I exhale.
Yeah, well, you could turn blue before that happens. So this week we're going to go with a smaller number of questions. Hey, what's up, James? There's James for his cameo this week. And we're going to go with the first question from Yoko. And essentially what Yoko wants to know is it's another one of those character questions, but in this one it's, what happens to my character if I jump into a friendship or I start off on a friendship and have to log out? Where do I log in next time? Does my character continue on as an NPC on their ship, or do I just disappear, leaving them one person short?
Your character continues on as an NPC. What we're thinking, and of course this will all be pursuant to balancing once we actually get this out there. What we're thinking is your character continues on as an NPC, but with the instructions to try to return safely to your nearest safe zone itself. So,
okay. So in other words, I bump out. My friend still gets to use my character as an NPC on their ship to man a turret or something.
Yeah, it's not gonna I don't think you'll ever have a time where it just deletes a person from the universe.
Okay, I like that. And if by some reason that ship gets blown up and my character dies, I'll have whatever the standard options are of reviving that character or creating the legacy character.
That's where we come to more of the balance issue. We lean towards that right now, but I could also certainly see it turning out that is no fun. So we'll tackle that once we get to it. Yeah,
we've got a long time before we get there, but it's good to start thinking about those things now so we don't have a big hurdle to jump over when we get there. Somebody wants to know if you could have, and this is for a Tilk, like oh God, what did they call them in Stargate? Tilk.
Stargate.
Yeah.
Stargate's Worf.
Stargate's Worf. He was amazing. And what he wants to know is, can we have an actual clock given in standard time for the galaxy, 24-hour, including date?
Yes.
Right now you have SEC. What is SEC?
SEC is, I believe that's the standard Imperial time.
Okay. SET, sorry.
SET, yeah. Well, one thing we've been, one of the early things we looked at is kind of what's the straining between Earth and Terra. And one of the things we came up with very early on was that Earth will insist on its standard time zones throughout the, even though they don't make sense for the individual colony worlds and matter worlds and so on. So you have this situation where there are other types of time zones, and it's actually sort of part of the conflict of the game world over which you use. All right. But yes, we'll have a clock.
All right, so there will be one. And looks like Randall 1 had his answered, but we're going to ask this because it was answered by somebody in our group. And this is, limited ships will be available for purchase directly at the event for concierge and subscriber backers. Is that still the case?
Yes, I think there's some confusing wording there. Everyone at the event can pick up limited ships. It's what we mean is that it's Allie who runs the subscription program and Chelsea who runs the concierge program will be the ones that are selling them. So you'll be able to go up to either of them and purchase ships at the event. Subscribers and concierge folks get in an hour earlier, I believe, so they will have more time to do that if they so desire. The ships will also be available on the website, so it's not something that's exclusive to any group of people. We are doing just as like a fun thing, like ship registrations. So you actually get something when you buy it in person. We'll give you like your sheet of paper that says whatever is Aurora, and Allie will sign it and give it to you. It should be cool.
Okay.
More just a fun thing for the event.
I think that's wonderful. Now, going back to ships, at some point in the process of developing the game, we were talking about actually being able to name our ships and having those names be visible. Is that something that we're going to be seeing before the PU goes live, or are we going to see that in alpha to test it out?
I think you'll probably see it. It'll come with the paint system.
Okay.
I cannot say where that'll actually come online for backers, though.
Okay. And with the names of ships, will there be something like what the armed forces use, the identification friend or foe, IFF, so you can send out a signal to tell if the ship is the ship that you're looking at is safe or not? I think what they're looking at here is that pirates might not be able to get IFF codes that the rest of the world has. To me, that doesn't make sense. Pirates are going to be hackers. They're going to be all sorts of things.
Oh, yeah. I think there'll be a whole elaborate counter system. So there'll be people stealing IFF codes. There'll be people figuring out what those IFF codes are and blocking them, and so on back and forth. One of those ongoing battles.
Okay. Solias asks, now that the social module is coming at us, after it's been updated and implemented a little bit more, will we see the pledge store move from online to in-game? I think they're two separate places, right?
They're two separate places right now. I think no plans to bring the whole pledge experience into the game.
So when the game... Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
Even just like, you don't know probably for that, buy some UEC just seems kind of scuzzy. Right. I think it's better to keep it at the website for now and separate from the game.
Now, do you see the pledge store going away when the game goes live and going with more things like the buying the credits and then actually spending them in-game, or are you going to leave some ships like the limited ships in the pledge store?
We're thinking right now more towards the just buying limited credits and you do whatever you want with the game, because that's more fun. It's part of the fun of getting a limited ship in the game will be that it's limited there. You have to track it down and be at the right places at the right time. If we have that through the website, it's that's much fun.
Yeah, I mean, some games do that, like War Thunder and World of Tanks, where you buy certain ships that don't have as much going for it, but may earn you extra cash. I like what you're saying, that all the ships are going to be in the game, and just leave it to UEC credits when the game goes live. Until then, that doesn't mean that any of you should stop buying ships in the pledge store. Well, if you could afford it.
Yeah, I would never want people to buy ships they could not afford.
Yeah. Now, this is a tough one because somebody has a question regarding Squadron 42, and I know after talking to David last, he said, I don't want anything else going. He really wants that to be a surprise for us.
Well, no worries. I've been keeping myself separate from a lot of that, so I can't spoil.
Good. Yeah, I think that you're like me, where you'd rather see it unfold in front of you instead of on a board in their room, right? I have a question, and this is from Firelands. He has a question regarding Squadron 42 development and its effect on the release of the persistent universe. In the most recent 10 for the chairman, Chris noted that each of the 3 chapters of Squadron 42 will be released on a yearly basis, meaning the final one will be released in 2017. Is this current plan to release the persistent universe? Now, we know what the answer is here, but he's wondering if the persistent universe is going to be released after the final chapter.
No, they're not tied together in that way.
Yeah, it does make sense that I think that Chris elaborated on this and saying that your character could be called back to duty.
Yeah. There was some confusion about this about a week or so ago when Chris was talking about the different modules. It's not a case of, we're dividing the game into 3 parts. It's the case of, we're thinking about the next 2 games.
Right. So, in other words, this game has a beginning, middle, and end, kind of like Wing Commander did, and then the Secret Missions discs, right? And then Wing
the next
Commander
one.
2 had its own beginning, middle, and end, and Wing Commander 3 had its own beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
So,
And, I think pretty much any internal pitch in games development has kind of that same development. Here's how we would do this sequel. Here's how we would do this next sequel. Here's how we make this into a franchise. Only difference is we're telling people right now what we're thinking rather than keeping it in some business dev lockbox somewhere.
right. And if successful, it doesn't mean that the third series of game, the third in this trilogy is necessarily the last thing that we're going to get in Squadron 42.
There's infinite stories, I think.
Right. And that's what I want people to know. I mean, we're still playing. Like I was playing Freelancer last night. So we're still playing games and 10, 20 years later. And if we keep them going over here, you may see more than just those 3 games.
Oh yeah, this is one particular arc. We have a whole world to build in.
Okay, so I've got one for you that's going to sound funny because it's about the Aurora. This is coming from Diamondback, and he's a big supporter of the Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous thread. So I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at what you're saying here. It's what's up with this ridiculous and unnecessary Aurora nerfing, and is the idea of mix and match parts to make any Aurora from any other, or make your truly own unique version officially dead and buried? Do you understand the question?
I do. Yeah, it's not dead and buried. You're watching balance swing back and forth in Running Commander. Like we say, the only constant is that everything will change. We're trying something different for the Auroras with this patch. It'll be different next patch and next patch and next patch until we find that sweet spot.
The one way I say it is you got to remember the Nerf bat doesn't just swing in one direction. It swings in both directions. Sometimes they over-nerf something. Sometimes they under-nerf something. Sometimes they overpower something. So we're in alpha, and we're just entering the real alpha. We're out of pre-alpha. So these things are going to get upgraded over time, and they're going to play with things. Kind of like the ridiculous nerfing of my favorite weapon, the Sledge 2. Sorry, Ben. I had to put that in there. Bond James, which I think he's got his life backwards in your universe. He's got a question about the Phoenix, and he wants you to elaborate on it more. Now, the Phoenix comes armed with a CWIS system, a close-in weapon system, or kind of like this, I guess you call it automated weapon defense system. Is it like a CWIS turret on a ship where it's separate, or is it going to take up one of my turret slots?
No, I believe that's separate on the Phoenix. It's a particular hard point that's just for that system.
Okay. And the other piece was I purchased a Rear Admiral package when it first came out and purchased the Phoenix upgrade. I noticed that it does not attribute a Hartwell piano to me.
It should. If it hasn't, right into CS, we'll get that piano added to your account.
Okay, and that was it. All right, and those are cool questions this week. I was trying to keep it short because we're going to have a little bit of a lead-in on this, talking about the patch, how it's working, and Ben says to hold your breath and wait 24 hours. I'm going to say it's been working more than it's not, so at least you can get into a game. My question this week has to do a little bit with character development, like characters themselves. And just, are we going to see a character creator sometime in the period between now and 2.0, or are we going to be using standard characters when we go into the social module?
Social module you'll see social module launch, and then we'll build the character creator into that. Probably not very, probably fairly rustic at launch.
Good.
But you'll see it evolve just like you have seen Arena Quest, because character creation is just as important as space combat in this game. So it's going to be one of those things that you see come together.
And my question for that is, my group, the Enablers, has been getting together every week, 2 or 3 times a week, and we're really looking forward to the social module being released. But then somebody said, hey, how are we going to recognize each other when we're all going to look like this dude? And that was the question.
Well, I know in the future, everyone looks like the same bald man.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he has hair now, doesn't he?
Well, is this Clone Wars Part 2? But that's pretty cool. So will there be like standard characters to pick from for the release of the social module, or just the one character?
I don't want to put features in social modules mouth because that's Austin's figuring that out right now.
Oh, I got you, Ben. I'm sorry.
But if not at launch, then soon after, you'll start with male, female, build whatever, and you just go from there as you have more options.
Okay.
Like we launched AC with one chip.
Okay. Now the last question is: you have a couple of new people there, but the one I'm most interested in is Jenny Varner. What is her role there, and when are you going to get her to contact me so I can get her on the show?
Jenny is a community content producer here. She just moved to Santa Monica last week, the week before.
Right.
So she's getting settled in here. My preference is to let people take some time to get used to the community before they dive in, but she's certainly one of the big one on your show. She's going to be responsible for a lot of kind of our community pipeline, tracking content. She does all our social stuff too.
Good. Is she going to be someone that builds like social items in the game, like maybe does live events and stuff, or?
Yeah, we were talking about some of that today. How we can we were talking about it in terms of the Empire Report, how we bring it into the game, how we kind of push out the social stuff too. So yeah, she'll be involved in all of that.
Oh, that is just wonderful. I'm glad that you got somebody that's into that, because people have asked that question many times, and I keep putting it aside because you answered that in one of the first two, that there will be live content in the game. So I'm looking forward to the fact that you actually have someone that's involved with that and taking that on as their project. All right, well, I'll leave it up to you to get me her contact info when it's the right time, because I'd love to have her here.
I'll let her know.
Ben, thank you very much for joining us again, as you always do. And what do you think of the new name, Bensday? It's
cool.
Bensdays with Batgirl and Ben.
That's good.
That's good. Thank you. I will talk to you next week. You enjoy the hell out of that Star Wars convention. I will be very jealous.
Thank you. It's going to be a good time.
Good. And I will talk to you next week if you have time. Thanks.
All right. That's it.
Bye.